Hey guys, this is Ken from Reynolds Piano, and this is a class called How to Instantly Make Your Piano Playing Sound More Professional. Now, I've been playing the piano for just over 30 years now, and during that time, I've had the chance to rub shoulders with all kinds of different players. Some just totally professional, playing studios, travel, the whole thing, and then some just it was just a hobby for them. They had a day job and they just liked to play the piano or whatever instrument it was that they played. But as I've rubbed shoulders with these kinds of people, I've noticed that the professionals are where they're at, not so much because they got a break, although that is important, but professionals have a toolbox that they use in their playing that just somebody who hasn't had that experience doesn't. And a good player takes those tools, metaphorically, takes those tools out of his toolbox and starts to implement them into whatever they're playing with. So it may be some kind of lick that they use in a certain style, or it could be fattening up the melody where it sounds a little thin. I mean, there's so many different things, so many different tools that professionals have. And as a professional, I would like to share with you some of the tools that I have in my toolbox, many of which were gained by watching other musicians. Some of them just a creative day and figured something out. Just many different reasons, but I want to show you these just so that you can grow as a player. So hopefully this will help you to take your playing to another level. All right, so let's start by just posing these two questions, okay? And I want you to think about these questions throughout this teaching. The first is, what form of the chord is being played? Okay, first of all, chords are played more than just one way. When you're new at the piano, a lot of times you think, okay, I learned C, it's C, E, G. Well, guess what? You can play C a lot of different ways, and some of them sound really good too. The other thing I want you to look at is, where is it on the piano keyboard? So we've established, there's many different ways to play chords, but there's many different places to play chords as well. And so as we go through this today, I want you to watch where I play these chords, and I think it's really going to help you to know just a way to get them to sound as good as possible, okay? All right, so here's where we're going to start. I want to teach you to color your chords. Okay, now I'm not talking about getting a marker and taking it to your piano keys, although I've heard of small children who've done that before. But what I'm talking about is actually adding notes to your chords. And let me show you what I mean. All right, so pretty simple chord here. Key of C, just a good old-fashioned C chord, G, C, and E, okay? Now, you can make this chord sound better and fuller just by adding one note, actually. And so you can see in the piano key diagram right under it that it's not just G, C, and E, it's G, C, D, and E, okay? And let me show you what I mean by that. All right, so here's a good old C, right? And then if you want to add the D in, listen to what it sounds like. And you can do it with any major chord. When you arpeggiate it or break it, okay, so you can see how that works. You also can go back and forth between a C and a C2. So you go C2, C, C2, C. And you can do it on other chords. F2, F, F2, F. even put it on the top of the chord. C to C, okay, like that. So as you can see, just adding one note to the chord really has a big effect on it and makes it sound fuller. All right, let me show you how that works with a minor chord. Same thing, we have a D minor chord, A, D, F, and we add the 2, which is E. All right, so let me show you how that sounds, because this sounds real good too. All right, so here's your regular, your D minor chord, right? So let's add the E, which is the 2. Listen to this. Okay, what I'm doing is going back and forth. I'm going D minor 2 to D minor 2 to D minor. Now you can do it on others. G minor 2 to G minor. All right? All right, you get the idea. All right, so that's just a real quick way to add to your chords and make them sound bigger and fuller. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put on what's called a chord extension. All right. So for the most part, when you first learn the piano and you're learning your chords, you learn 3 chords. You'll learn C. Let me go back here for a second. You'll learn C. All right. And you learn F. Then back to C. All right, then you learn or. So if you've ever taken piano, you've done that, no doubt about it. Okay, so that 3rd chord is G7. All right, it's this one right here on the top, and just played out. This sounds pretty regular. This is a good old G7 chord. However, if I add a couple notes to it by doing G and F in my left hand, A, C, D, F. So let me show you what that looks like, because it's pretty cool. All right, so here's your regular G chord, G7 chord. Okay, kind of boring, right? All right, now listen. Listen to the difference between those two. The G11 is just, I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff. But the idea being, so if you put it in the context, do some 2s. There's F2 to F2 to F, C, and then the G11. All right. So there's a little tool in your toolbox to make your dominant 7 chords sound a lot fuller. And there's different things you can do too. There's 9s, there's 13s. You can sharp them. You can do all kinds of stuff. We won't get into that today because that would take way too long. But anyway, I just wanted you to see that. All right. And this is also possible to put an extension on a minor chord. So just as we did with a major, you've got your minor triad, D, F, and A, which is D minor. And then we can make it D minor 9. That's a cool chord. Let me show you how that's done. So you've got the. All right. Let's see. There it is. And if you leave the 9 out, you get that. That's kind of nice. D minor 7. D minor 9, and we could keep going. But point being that when you see a D minor chord, often you can add a 7 to it, you can add a 9 to it, and it really colors the chord, okay? So that's something that I just encourage you to try. Some of you just might know some of the simplest chords. In fact, let me show you something. One of the things that's good is when you take a technique and you actually implement it to a song that people might know. You might know this, you might not. This is a pretty popular song right now by Hillsong, and it's called What a Beautiful Name. And I can take those twos, and I can take the dominant 7 chords and make them fatter. So watch as I play here. I'll kind of try to narrate. So let's see, let's go to C. All right, so it's like, what a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. All right, so what I just did is, number one, I'm doing the C2 to C, right? And then I'm doing G2. And then I did A minor 2, like we were talking about. There's a major 2, another major 2. All right? And then, this one's really not conducive to changing the dominant 7, but at least you'll get an idea there of how it works within a song, the twos especially in the major and minor. Okay, all right, let's keep going. The next thing, I'm just going to get a little drink of water here, excuse me. The next thing that we're going to learn is we're going to learn how to extend bass notes. All right? All right, so let's start with some easy ones. All right, whenever you play a chord, you do something with your left hand. Usually, the simplest thing you can do is play the root. All right, and I don't even have that here. I have the octave. The octave's probably the next step up. So if you play, okay, so it's the octave and the 5th. Let's just go back so you can see. All right, so let's take good old C again. All right, and usually, this is kind of what you do, right? Use your thumb or your pinky, right? Like this. All right? But you can make that left hand, if you're looking to make that chord sound kind of bigger and grander, well, you can put 5ths, or you can put octaves first of all right? See the difference between, and there's a huge difference. If you really want to go, you really want that bass to be strong. There's a 2, by the way. Yep, that's F2, F. All right. The other thing that you can do is you can play 5ths in your left hand. So let's take a G chord. All right, and there you go. So G and D, you would play G and D in your left hand, and you can hear that's without it, that's with it. So you can hear it kind of bolsters it up a little bit, makes it stronger, right? There's a 5th with F, all right? Then what you can do is you can play a 5th and an octave, all right? And that even makes it stronger. So if I do, what I'm doing is C, G, C, and then just a regular old C chord. All right, and you can hear that's, you know, maybe the song's just really getting, let's go with What a Beautiful Name. So you can see how I'm just kind of making that bass nice and strong. Now if you're playing in a band, and you have a bass guitar player, you don't need to do that much with your left hand. Literally, you probably just do one thing with your left hand, unless you're playing by yourself, all right? And then you can add more, all right? So here are a couple other things that you can do. Let's see, we talked about the octave and fifth. The seventh, all right? So let's take a D minor 7 chord, all right? And you can put, I just want to make sure I know which one I'm on here. Yeah, okay. All right, so you can play the 7th in your left hand. So, all right, so what I'm doing is I'm doing D and C. A lot of times in jazz, you can see how I'm doing the root in the 7th, and it just kind of gives it. It just, here's without it, or here's without it. There's it on top. And then you can hear it just makes it a little kind of chunkier, fattens it up a little bit. All right, so, and then there's a couple more things you can do with your bass if your hand is big enough. However, even when your hand is smaller, you can do this. All right, and let me show you how. So a 10th from an F to an A is pretty far. It's pretty far. Let me show you. All right, so you can see my hands. I mean, that's definitely pretty far. All right, but here's the deal. If your hand is too small to do that, and let me just say most people's is, you can just roll it. Come off of it, so you can do. All right. The other thing you can do is add a 5th to the 10th, which is, again, very difficult to reach, but you can roll this one too. See? All right, you get the idea. Real down low, sounds real gutsy down there, but again, you can even do the roll faster, so it doesn't really sound like you're trying to reach it. All right, okay, cool. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different things you can do with your bass. Now let's look at the melody. All right, so number 3 is fatten your melody. That, whatever that guy's eating there really looks good. Okay, so a couple different things you can do with the melody. First of all, I'd say probably the one I use the most are these two, the octave and the third. All right, let's see. Let's go back to What a Beautiful Name. The chorus goes. Right? So, let me show you now what that sounds like with octaves. All right, so. All right, so you see how when you really want the melody to kind of pop and kind of cut through everything, especially when you're playing in a group. And you might say, oh man, how do you hit both those notes at the same time? And it's just practice. Let me show you. Let me show you what that looks like. Here we go. All right. So, okay. So you can see how I'm just basically playing octaves. The other thing, too, that I had on the slide there was thirds. Okay, so you can see, just play the note that is a third above it. So not the greatest playing there, but you get the idea. All right, so we've got the octave and the third. Now let's look at this slide, which is the sixth and the third in octave. All right, so sixths are really fun to play. I'm just kind of making this up, but so if the melody was, you could play with octaves. In slow motion. All right, let me show you too. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? Okay, here we go. So, all right, so you can see how I'm starting on E and C, D and B, F and D, and I'm just kind of, okay. In fact, you can practice these. All right, you can do them in D. Looks like I got to practice a little too, but that's a great way to kind of get them under your fingers. It's just literally like practice them like that as a scale. Okay. All right, let's see if we got anything else here. The third in the octave. Let me show you that. Third in the octave, you would just be going like this. So, okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going C, E. I'm basically doing what I was doing with the thirds, but I'm adding the octave above the melody. All right, so that's that one. And let's see, what else do we have here? I think that's it for that. Okay, so there are some ways you can fatten up your melody, and that is really important. All right, so the next thing is utilize walk-ups and walk downs. Sorry, I'm so thirsty. All right, so let me show you here. All right, a walk up is basically some in-betweener chords that you put between two major chords. So for instance, let me explain that because that wasn't very clear. All right, so think of two chords. You have C and you have F. All right. And the two chords between those that create the walk-up are the C sus4 over D and the C over E. All right, so let me show you what that looks like. All right, so we're going C to F, correct? So instead of going boring, right? Okay, now watch. Okay, and so that's a walk up between like a 1 chord and a 4 chord in the key of C, C and F. So, all right, so we got that. Now, if you can walk up, guess what? You can also walk down, which is cool. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to walk up, and then I'm going to show you how I walk down. So let's go back to the C. Here's the walk down. So you get the idea, and you can do that in any key. You may voice the chords a little bit differently, different fingerings, whatever, that's totally cool. The point is that you're walking up. And you'd be surprised how that just really helps. Especially if you're building a song to the chorus or the bridge or something, and you want to. Here we go. Anyway, you get the idea. All right. So let's see. Any other walk-ups? Oh yeah. These are cool. All right. Chromatic. Let's go this one first. So you also have chromatic warm-up or walk-ups. I'm sorry. And so this is. Let me just show you what this looks like from F to D minor, G minor 7. Okay, just got to make sure I got the chord progression right. All right, so here's what I mean. Watch my left hand. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do it. Now here's a walk up. And all I'm doing is, you can do it with an octave, you can do it with just one finger. I'm doing, you find the chord that you're playing, and you start the walk up one step below it. So in this case, it's a G minor 7, right? If you want to see it spelled out. Okay, that's a G minor 7. All right? All I'm doing is F, F sharp, G. Chromatic warm up, or walk up. Okay? So, let's go back to What a Beautiful Name. All right, so this you're gonna kind of do it a lot gentler because it's a kind of a soft song. Watch. So watch. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. All right. That was probably not enough. So let's take a bigger part, because these kind of lend themselves to bigger and stronger portions of songs, I think. So, na, 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 na. So you can see it works really well, more so when things are really cranking in the song. So anyway, those are chromatic walk-ups and chromatic walk-downs. And you can do that in any key. You can do it with major chords. You can do it with minor chords, all kinds of different chords. Okay? All right, the last thing that I want to show you is what are called chord inversions and open voicings. All right, so if you didn't know by now, let me tell you that there's kind of like 3 different ways, just generally speaking, to play a major chord, and really to play any chord, because any chord that you have can be broken down into different inversions. Okay, so as you can see, the first one, C, E, and G, simple, right? And then we have E, G, and C, and then G, C, E. That G, C, E, if you remember, was one of the first things we talked about today. So, so you can see that. All right, let me show you what that looks like, just so you can see. And a good thing to do that will make you a stronger player is to practice these inversions. Alright, and you can even just have fun with them. You can go, or you could do arpeggiated. Okay, so there's more ways to play C even than that. A lot of times when I'm playing in a band, this is how I play C. I just play like fifth an octave in my left hand, and then I play like an octave with a C and the D. There's a C2. It's kind of a different version of C2. So there's just different ways you can do it. Let's see. All right. So the next thing I want to show you real quick here is the other thing was a 3-note, right? So now we're looking at a 4-note chord. And really the principle I want to start to teach you here is that when you have chords that have more than like 3 or 4 notes in them, you can get away with playing different parts of the chord. You don't have to play every note in the chord. And sometimes when I tell people this, they're just like, oh my goodness, thank you for telling me that. All right, well this is a little example, real simple though, of you've got G, B, D, F, right? And then it shows that you can play the G in your left hand, if you look at the second one, and B, D, F in your right. So there, I just eliminated a note in my right hand. I'm still only playing 3 notes. Now watch, because it's going to get more fun from here on. All right, G9, which is G, B, D, F, A. You can hardly reach that. Man, that's a lot. All right, G9. Nobody plays it like this. They don't. All right, but let me show you. All right, so here's what I'm trying to show. I mean, it's a lot of notes. All right, but you can, let's see, let me go back to the slide so you can see it. All right, you can change that using the same notes. All right, so here it is. Here it is. All right, and then you can do a G11. Nobody plays it that way, right? Because it sounds corny. But you can do this. Let's see, 11 is C. Yeah, get the. There we go. There it is. That's G11. All right. And then there's one more. There's G13. All right. And that has an E in it. That's one of my favorites there. All right, so that's it. That's how many notes am I playing in my right hand? I'm playing 4 notes in my right hand, and there's really, and I'm playing 2 in my left, but there's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there it is. 7, 9, 11, 13. So it's 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 notes, and you're just playing. There it is. You're playing just 3 chords or 3 notes in your right hand. You're playing A, B, and E, and then you have G and F. Remember how we talked about playing the 7th in your left hand, the root and the 7th. So there it is. Root, 7. So the point being that one of the things that professionals do is they'll take a chord that has, so many notes in it like that, and they will modify it to such a degree that it sounds good, number one, and number two, it's not hard to play. I mean, if you can just remember A, B, E, I mean, it's like an A2 almost in your right hand. And then G, F, there's your G13. All right, so I gave you that one for free today. I guess just an overview, looking back at what we talked about today. What I would encourage you with is, some of this might have been, for some of this, you might have watched this and went, oh gosh, that was easy. Great. You know what? Go find another example or teaching or whatever and learn. Keep stretching yourself. And maybe you look at it today and you're like, oh my goodness, I have a long way to go. All right. I would say the same thing to you. Don't be discouraged. Go look online, and there are so many different things, videos and all kinds of things that will help you learn and play more like a professional. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching for that, I do that pretty regularly, and I'd love to help you. But if not, then you maybe don't have the time or money for that, then just try to grow in your playing as much as you can. One of the things that I've done over the years is just listen. You can learn so much by listening to different players, and especially obviously if you're a pianist, which obviously you are if you're watching this, listen to some of the great piano players over the years with jazz and with classical. Go listen to all different styles, and you'll be surprised. You will start hearing some of the things that they do, and you'll be able to figure them out. Maybe you won't be able to do exactly as good or as fast, but you'll be able to see what they're doing, and you can implement it in a way that's workable for you. All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this today. And if you want any more information on me or my teaching, my website is www.reynoldspiano.com. That's ReynoldsPiano.com. All right. Have a great day.